Lunch and Learn. Next slide, Sergio. Which we deliver every first Wednesday of the month. Um, and we talk on variety of topics related to project management and agile. And some of you have joined multiple webinars in the past, so you're aware of that. That's good. So let's keep moving. I want to talk about some of the things that are happening at RefineM. So I think I shared this with you in the past, but I wanted to share again for some of you who have joined new. We are a approved authorized training partner for PMI, and this is something that PMI started this year to approve the providers for PMP exam prep. So we are now delivering PMP exam prep classes as per the new program of PMI, and we have been certified. We have certified trainers by PMI, and you can look at our training schedule on our website. Plus, we have also partnered with more than half a dozen PMI chapters to provide PMP exam prep classes to those chapter members. And you can utilize some of the discounts if you are in those chapters. Okay, so let's see what is next here. Upcoming webinars and event. The very first one that's coming up after today is on March 11. I am doing a group career coaching. I'm starting a group career coaching series with NCPMI chapter. It will be multiple sessions, and I will be helping project managers to plan their career and make their next move and get to that goal that they're looking for. And the kickoff for that starts on March 11, and then we'll have follow-up sessions. So this will be a real practical coaching and training to help project managers grow their career. We are starting our PMP exam prep with PMI Memphis on March 16. If you are a PMI Memphis chapter member, you get discounts. Even if you are not a PMI Memphis chapter, they have extended it to other PMI chapters, and you can get discounts there. Our next webinar is on new ways of working for remote agile teams, and that's going to be held on April 7th, next month, first Wednesday. And this is basically for the agile teams that are working remotely, because many organizations are forced to work remotely because of pandemic, and this is going to be the new norm. So we all should be prepared to see how we can implement agile with remote teams. And then other PMP exam prep coming. There are a lot of products and self-paced training. I'm not going to talk about that. You can look at our website and learn about those. Okay. So this is our partnership with Empathize. So a lot of things going on here at RefineM. And this is one of the world-class tool to manage project portfolio, software development, operations, infrastructure work. And if you're interested to learn more about it, you can sign up for a free trial. You can see the link below. And if you like it, you want to move forward, then we can actually extend this trial to another 60 days. So you can really test it before you want to bring this tool in your organization. Okay, so now I will hand over to Sergio. Sergio, you take from here, and Sergio is one of my colleagues. We did agile coaching together at IBM for over 4 years. He's a certified design thinking professional, and he has agreed to come here and talk about design thinking with our group over here. So Sergio, all for you.
Thank you, NK, for that introduction. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes. I can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Thank you. So thank you, NK, and the RefineM team for having me here. It's an honor and a blessing to be talking with you all on this presentation. So before we start, just a bit of an introduction of me, and I'm just gonna turn my camera real quick. This is me, just to put the face on who's talking. Just gonna close it for one with pictures here. So my name is Sergio Mondragon, born and raised in Costa Rica, living in Costa Rica as well. We created a company called Constru-Robot, where we focus on innovation, creativity, new ways of working, and also we work with institutions that would like to infuse them into their practices, as well as the different methodologies that we are certified on. Right? A Scrum product owner, as NK mentioned, I have a certification in design thinking. There are multiple out there, but the one that I got is from a company in Spain called Lombard. I'm also certified in design sprint, which is the, say in big quotation marks, the version from Google Ventures. On design thinking as well, or at least problem solving methodology, if you will, as well as with Lego Serious Play, which is a methodology that will also help you resolve problems and among other things, right? That one is from Denmark, and the most common one, which is the Ideal Foundations 4.0 as well. Been working with different companies, multinational companies, for the last 20 plus years. As NK mentioned, in the last 4 to 5, I got the chance to coach and lead transformations for multiple companies while working at IBM. And more recently, we also got the chance or the opportunity as well to work with the International Development Bank across multiple governmental companies in both in Costa Rica and in Latin America as well. And that's me, right? A bit of a nutshell. So, all right. So let's just move to the next slide. Okay, here's a problem. The live deletion. Let's just fix this real quick. Before we get here, before we start, I would like to get to know your expectations, right? What would you get from this webinar right here, right? So if you can go to this code, right, to menti.com and use this code 318205. And if you could write down in a minute, what are your expectations from today's presentation? What would you like to get from here today? If you can go there and just type what your expectation is, I will highly appreciate it. Let's just take a minute for that. Perfect. Very good. Very cool. Thank you all for the ones that are participating. And as you will see on everything, on every word cloud, the bigger ones are the ones that are repeating the most. Learn knowledge, learn new methods, everything about learning. And yes, you will be presented with 5 stages of design thinking. We'll talk as well also the different versions, if you will, regarding design thinking. The one that we will be showing today is the one that being practiced from Stanford or being designed by Stanford University. There are a couple of other ways that are out there, but we will talk about that. Okay, so thank you for participating. There are more questions coming, more participation that we would like to get from you, and that would be great. So just keep that. Let's just keep this link handy, right? So, all right. So let's just do this. Let's talk about why design thinking matters, right? For project managers and scrum masters, like the most of you are, and really to any person in a team that would like to look for a different way on practicing design thinking. First of all, we will address the customer need, right? Since, as Enke said at the beginning, this is a human-centered methodology, we will get the what we need from the customer right up front. The customer will be an integral participant of a design thinking process, not throughout all of the stages, but it will, his or her view will guide us along the way. Right? Since we already know, or since we will like to know what the customer really needs and wants, we can deal with ambiguity and uncertainty. We've been in projects where we don't really know what's the use of what we will be using, right? And also, there are oftentimes where whatever we develop on a project, it's really uncertain to the customer. Sometimes up to the middle is that we find out that we need to do something else, and then change records and change processes come into way. Right. So if we do a design thinking process before really starting a project, we can deal with ambiguity and uncertainty. As we mentioned, customer and the entire organization around a project or around a design really are going to be participating across the multiple stages. Starting with the customer, since we need to know them, as well as the team that is going to be developing the solution, plus the stakeholders, everyone will be involved. So that will also give us clarity of outcome. Right? That will give us the way as to how we could continue development of our project. And since everything is perhaps really crystal water clear, the immediate backlog and the requirements will also be positively impacted. That's what we will be looking after the on an exercise like this. Right? So moving on. Just on the in here, if you could raise your hand and see and really if anyone has participated on a design thinking workshop that could let us know. Let's just raise your hand, right? I mean, let's take 30 seconds and raise your hand on the chat, right? I mean, on the participants below. And cool. I see one. If you haven't, no worries, right? I mean, this webinar is designed for people as well that hasn't really participated. And if you have, don't worry about it either, because I'm sure you will find it useful, and you will find different versions of it. And because there are multiple ways of doing the same thinking, right? Own IBM on its own will have one, plus there are different ones. Then that's something that we'll talk about later. Very cool. So we see that at least 4 or 5 hands will be raised along, and that has already participated. That's great. I'm sure, and I hope that you learned something really new today. And for those of you who hasn't, I'm sure you'll find it informative. Okay, all right, very good. So let's just continue. So this is a definition from Tim Brown. He's the founder from IDEO, CEO from IDEO, which is one of the biggest design companies in the US and actually worldwide, building and designing different processes and mostly infusing design thinking to everyone. So it goes like design thinking is a human-centered approach to innovation that draws from the designer's toolkit to integrate the needs of people, the possibilities of technology, and the requirements for business success. So what does it all mean, right? So when we mentioned that design thinking is a human-centered approach, is because we look to tackle and look to really satisfy the needs of our potential users. There's of course a debate as to how in depth we will need to go into it, because sometimes needs or wants is not really what the customer is looking for. But that will be, of course, cleared across the different stages of design thinking. We based ourselves when doing a design thinking exercise, we base it on observation, right? We first of all need to observe what we need or what we want from other customers, or what the customers really want actually. And there are multiple ways, right? I mean, it's not just like sightseeing or really going back to our user and observing, but we'll get into that in one of the phases, but it's really understanding what the customer really wants. Then we also say that humans, right? Not only the user, but humans are an intrinsic part of the process. Since this is human centered again, we need to really know not only to whomever we are doing the product, but also who is in our team, and get really understanding and empathy also to whomever we're working with, because that will lead us to a point number 4, which is the multidisciplinary approach. It's not only a group of software developers that will be coding a website, right? Nor a group of marketers in the field trying to get insights from the customer and trying to develop a strategy. It's a multidisciplinary team all together, understanding what the customer really wants, and dealing with the right purpose for the project that we will be developing. Okay, we will also talk about innovation, as it says, right? It's used for technology. It helps driving innovation in the workplace because it will give you a framework, a really methodology, if you will, as to how you will get ideas from an objective, prototype it, and then test it, right? So that will give you the mechanism to really validate ideas. Now, let's not get confused that just because we're doing design thinking exercise, we can call our company innovative, right? There are a couple of other things that needs to be done, but at least over time, design thinking will give you the methodology as to what ideas or new ideas is a company or a team really producing. And then these ideas is not only just ideas and then we'll throw them and see what sticks. It's not that, but it will also give you a way to really validate them. Also, it will clear the path to impact. Now, the implementation piece is perhaps not as an intrinsic as design in the design thinking method, but you will get, at least you will have a clear path as to what needs to be done. Now, there are methodologies that the implement piece will put it in there, not in this one and the one from Stanford, because the implementation will come afterwards, once we have something validated. Same thing with the design sprint from Google. We will, it's not that it ends when you test it with the customer, but whatever comes afterwards is, of course, the implementation, and there are multiple methodologies for it. Then for business success, you will have, again, a product already validated or a prototype already validated, and you will know that it will work, because then again, we are asking to whomever we are developing for. Every idea that we will produce before even building a prototype, we go through a matrix, right? I mean, we see what's feasible and what impact does it have. And we will talk about it some more when we get into the ideation phase. And then you will also see, or the business will also see an improvement on related metrics. And later on, actually in 2 slides, we will also talk about examples from different metrics that are out there, and with its links as well, so you can consult where these metrics are coming from. Okay, now let's talk a bit about history. As you see, This is nothing new, as with most of the methodologies, right? They get like the best from different places and try to put it on a cohesive method as to put it into practice. This, let's say that not only design thinking, but design as a career started in 1920. Bauhaus movement in right after World War One. That's when we started talking about careers in design and are opening universities and so on. Moving towards the present in 1940s is when the plastic as a material is invented. Less in a course on it, but of course, the problems of plastic will be talk for another webinar. But when plastic is invented, the methodologies for product design and for really designing with new materials came into play as well. Brainstorming and creative problem solving techniques become popular. How to really tackle like brainstorming and tools like the 5 whys, right, or root cause analysis came into play around 1940s and 1950s. Moving as well in time in 1980s, 1970s, 1980s, I would say, from Xerox, right, when all the boom from Xerox and Microsoft and Apple came into play, the multidisciplinary team concept was established. Not only they had engineers working on applications, but also psychologists and people from marketing also working on the same team developing a product. Designing for a user also becomes practice. What interfaces you will have. Remember the old Apple Macintoshes, the desktop that it has, the icons, what does it really mean, right? So that also became into practice in the 1980s. Then again, towards the present, as we mentioned before, from Stanford, design thinking as a career and as a practice is being developed. IDEO came into play into formation as well. That's a big breakthrough on this methodology because it will give us a practice, right? And then in the 2000s, as I mentioned as well, we also saw other methods being developed. The one from Stanford, which I will take it as the basis of it. We have the 5 different stages. Then there is like double diamond. You could look at that like double diamond design, and you will get it from the British Design Council. It's pretty much the same phases. It's just arranged differently. And then towards 2008, 2010, Google Ventures design, invented or put it together the design sprint methodology, where in 5 days you will get something. You will come from the problem, you will get an idea, and then afterwards you will have a prototype being validated with the user. So those are really big breakthroughs or big milestones around the time frame. Of course, there might be more, on the use of the methodology, but for our purposes, this is the history around design thinking. Moving now to the numbers, right? Just to give us substantive appreciation on what design thinking is, and numbers that really back up the information here. So it's said that 71% of the teams or companies improved their working culture down to a team level, because then again, it gives a voice to ideas, right? It extrapolates the idea from the person, and it also provides a mechanism to really get the participation from everyone. Then from IBM, 2 from IBM, 75. It said also that there is a reduction in time, in design time, around 75%. That's because, of course, we prototype it first and then we validate it. So then the feedback that we get from our user that will also help us to reduce the time it takes to design a new product. As well, from IBM, 300% of return on investment. This number may look high, but when we take into consideration that design thinking will give you a mechanism to really validate ideas and test them before throwing it to the market, that will give you a higher return on investment as well, because you will not be losing time, you will not be losing market, and something that's going to be out there, it's already been validated. And that also happens with the market share. 41% of the teams will also increase the market share. Teams that are, or companies that are practicing not only design thinking but design per se, right? So those numbers are there. And then, as you see on the blue, are the links where this information is being taken from. Now let's dive in, right? Let's dive in into the 5 different phases from design thinking. We have 5 very well defined stages. Then again, this one is taken from the Stanford methodology, if you will. You will see others that are quite different in the nomenclature, but at the end, it's pretty much the same thing, right? So we will start with empathizing with our users. We define the area or the problem that we want to solve. We throw out ideas, a lot of ideas based on the whatever problem we defined. We create a prototype once we have a winning idea, and then we test them. Okay, so starting with I'm sorry. You will also see that this process is not linear, as a lot of people may think. That we move in a single line from empathize up to test, and then we're done. It's not that, right? I mean, we can go through emotions, but then once we're tested, we find that perhaps our problem was not properly squared away, so we can go back and then continue. Right? We can also find out that the prototype that we did is not really the best idea possible. So we can go back to a bank of ideas or the ideas that were defined on our ideation session and do something else. We may also find out that we didn't gather enough information from our customer. Okay, so going to the first phase, right? Empathize. We really need to understand the situation. We really understand what our customer is going through. So we first of all observe, right? We, as we mentioned before, we see what the customer is doing. It would be a good exercise, right? I mean, say for instance that you're developing a wearable product, where it's a T-shirt or a pair of pants or sneakers, what have you. You could do, you could spend time in a mall, right? Or well, now it's virtual, but you could spend time on a website and see what they offer, see if you have information, you can gather as well as much information from historical data, how and when a product's used, why was defined in the first place, what is the user really thinking about it, what is their, the voice from the people, right? I mean, not just a user, but what does he or she hear, feel, etc. If you have access to a market research, that would be great, because you will have historical data and points from market, from that tool or from that product, or you could do a behavior analysis as well. For those of you also working on websites, SEO tools goes a long way to understand, when a customer has clicked in, clicked out, and all the different links that they go through. More importantly, ask, right? Try to be as in direct contact with our customers as much as possible. You could do focus groups, right? You could do surveys in social media, and that's something that we have done. In social media, you could really easily launch really surveys. Three questions, right? What do you think? What would you like to see next? Any questions that you may have. Something really simple that yet meaningful, that can give you enough information to really finishing up knowing the customer. And if you have the luxury, or if you have the possibility, I would say, if you could do meetings, perhaps it's not as big as something that will go and be thrown into a market. Perhaps it's a process a process improvement within a company, and then you're doing the same thinking exercise to create or in a new process, either a new process or improve it. So then you could do, you could do meetings. There are different tools along the slides. You will find as much as possible tools that you could use. There are multiple tools, but to keep it simple, we can, of course, we can talk about two. There are always aggregation tools from the data that you get that you could use. And the one that I like the most is an empathy map. An empathy map is a graph or a representation of a user. You will put it in the center, and then you'll start seeing, based on the data, based on your observations and results, what is the customer really seeing? What is he thinking? What others are saying to him? So what is he hearing? What are his hopes or her hopes and fears that this person may have? So that will give you a really conceptualization as to what the customer would need. I can show you examples later on as well, or I can send them over email if you need them. But empathy maps are, it's a really common tool that you can find in Google. If not, then of course, you can contact me and I can send you an example, and of course, examples on how to run it. Of course, I'm sure there's going to be training later on in the month, and I'm sure NK will talk about it, but I can share, right? I mean, it's something that you can find online. So let's do an exercise. Let's see, let's try to understand a user. Take a look at this picture, right? It's a little kid, right? With a stuffed animal, looks like a panda hanging over a swing, right? So from the picture, how is she feeling, right? I mean, what is her background? If we can take wild guesses here, right? I mean, this is just an exercise. Is she real alone? What others may be possibly saying? What is her age? So let's go back to Menti, I'm sorry, and let's type it in there. Let's just type the same on the same link that we are. Let's just type the what do we observe? What do we think we observe? Right? And remember the picture. Let me just put it back. There's this little girl with a stuffed animal on a swing. Looks like a fire, right? So what is it that we observe? Let's just take 2 minutes, right? Very good. We observe a swing. Good. What else? Right? Swing, she's lonely, the swing is too high, she hugs the animal, right? What would you think she's feeling right now? What that moment? What do you think she's feeling? She's feeling lonely, right? Perfect. Okay, very good. She's waiting. Uh-huh. Right. She's pensive. She seems sad. That's right. That's something that we're seeing. Sad and lonely, right? That's what we get from that picture. A quiet moment. She seems to be waiting, right? Very good. So that's comforted by the panda. That's right. Those are things that we will be able to observe. Of course, right now we wouldn't be able to get to a conclusion because it's just a picture, right? But we can infer, as you all are doing very well. We could infer from the picture as to what are we getting from it, right? So if we go back to that, if we will do an empathy mapping, right? And if we go back to the observation that we're doing, so what is she feeling? She's feeling lonely. She's feeling sad. What others may be seeing or maybe saying, right? We can get it from here. What is she experiencing right now? Maybe perhaps she's experiencing that the swing is too high, right? Those are inputs for a very good empathy map that we could do. But then those inputs that we're getting from there, right? It will help us to define our problem, right? It will help us to do a problem statement. we could as well aggregate the results. It will also help us finding that aha moment that we would like to resolve. If we go back to the what do we observe, that aha moment perhaps is that the swing is too high, right? Perhaps it's that we need to maybe we could create ideas as how to create a better swing for her with her panda, maybe. But then it will also help us to define, our persona. It will also help us identify our pain points. And this problem statement, as a suggestion, needs to be as open as possible, but as well as close as possible. If it's too open, we could create whatever that it will satisfy the problem statement. Or if it's too close, it's really too close that it would help us drive an innovation. So how we can do this with a persona definition and putting the problem on the on a how might we version of it. So let's just move fast, just to, because I don't want to delay you a lot. But so this is an example of a persona definition. Say for instance, it's also good to this persona that we're creating, to provide a name. This is a common practice on Scrum, right? But just a simple persona definition like this would do. So say for instance, and this is my interpretation. Of course, you can have your own. This is Sarah. She's 4 years old. She loves stuffed animals. Just inferring because she's alone, that the parents work all the time. She's just with her nanny, perhaps, or someone responsible for her care at that moment. She's from the picture I can infer that she doesn't have any siblings, and she loves swings, right? And I only see one, but the closest park, it only has one. I'm sorry. Perhaps this is not the closest park, but something or the one that she has access to. Right, and then this is a problem statement that we can create. So how might we, right, to put it in a positive statement? So we're giving it a positive and a way or something that we can resolve, right? So how might we create a better swing for kids between 6 and 8, like Sarah, even though Sarah here is 4, but as an example. 6 and 8 years, and their stuffed animals or their toys or their pets, right? And that's just a problem statement that I got, from my own observations. You may have your own, but as long as we put it on this format, it will infuse, right? Because it's positive. It's something that we could solve. The ideation, which is the next phase, right? I'm sure you all have been participating, or you all have participated on a brainstorming session where sometimes people tend to be critical to whomever provided the idea, or just focus. And this happens, right? Or just focus on the solution right away, right? And perhaps not, right? I mean, this part is a good time that we can take on our own to get the majority of the ideas possible. It's being said that a good trained brain can take out of can really come out with 25 ideas in a short time. Say 2 to 5 minutes, 25 or more ideas it can come out with. It happens to me, right, that the best ideas comes when I'm taking a shower, and I'm sure it's the same thing or a case from you, and that happens because you're in a moment on your own, thinking, just focusing on something, and then ideas starts to flow. And it's the same here, right? A really good ideation session or brainstorming session, you start writing or saying ideas, no matter if the ideas are good or bad. We don't judge. We just throw ideas as much as possible, alone, on our own. Then when we go back to a plenary, when we go back to a group, so then we share those ideas and we hear others with respect, and we hear them, we group them, right? What's close, we group them, and then we validate them. We validate them versus what's feasible, and what has the best impact, right? Remember that when we are validating this, we need to kind of think that whether we have the personnel to deliver it, the technology exists, or we also have the resources, monetary resources or the finances to develop it. If if some of those are not there, perhaps it's better to think on better ideas, something that is down to earth. That's how we measure innovation as well, right? The breakthrough ideas that we have. So tools, right? I mean, this is a brainstorming, as we talked about. We could do it that way. Also, there's other version, right, that we could do extreme users. Perhaps it's not just that we are developing we're developing a swing for a little kid, but perhaps we could kind of think, so what would grandmother would like from a swing, right? Or what would a mother would like from a swing, thinking on the safety issues. What would a president of a company would think about a swing, right? I mean, maybe they don't have really close relationship to a swing, but it'll give it'll give your brain different views as to how you would like to get new ideas to it. And regarding how you will be collecting your ideas, it's important, right? But the more important phase is that you throw ideas. You could do it on Post-its. You could paste them on the wall. You could have, collaboration tools if you're working virtual. Now that's the new normal, that we're working virtual. There are tools, right, like Neural or Miro or the tools of your choice. You could do even Excel, right? I mean, and just write them in Excel and then vote them. However you want to do it, that's great. The importance of this phase is that we can throw as much ideas as possible and something validated, right, against feasibility versus impact. Okay, now say that we have an okay. So now let's do an exercise, right? Same scenario. This is all the technology that we have. This is all the budget that with the budget that we got. This is what we can do for Sarah, for the 4-year-old Sarah, right? This is all that we have. So what can you do with this pulley, right? Let me go back here. All right. So what can we do with this pulley, right? What ideas you can come out with? Let's take a minute or so, so we could define an idea as to what can you do with this pulley for this little kid. Mm-hmm. Right, the pulley, I like that one. Yeah, it's kind of rusted. It's not like the best one. Perfect. Perfect. I love it. Right. So you see, really, we are getting ideas to it, right? I know, know your lunch, and I'm sorry, if this is kind of like asking, but yeah, I mean, these are really good ideas that we are getting from. Right? I love the pull something, right? Raise and lower her panda toy, right? I mean, why don't we create a string for her toy, right? With that pulley, I'm sure we can do it. As you guys say here, adjust the swing height. Of course, we could use the pulley to and have maybe perhaps other mechanism that it can make the swing height lower, right? And those are really simple ideas, and perhaps the feasibility is great, right? And the impact of it, it's really impactful, and it may not cost us anything, right? Those are the ideas that we need to validate, and from here we can do a prototype, right? We can build a prototype. So, all right. So we have our ideas, right? And then say, for instance, that we select one, right? I mean, from that pulley, let's imagine that this little swing over here, it's all tied up to the same pulley that we saw before, right? So, but then prototypes really, it's something that we built good enough, right? With the materials that we have at hand, just to validate a point. We don't strive for perfection. If we have access to materials close to reality, and it's not going to take us a long time to build, so then we can do a high fidelity, right? High fidelity equals close to reality sort of a prototype. If not, then, if all that we have is cardboard boxes, scissors, and perhaps some needle and thread, perhaps we could build our own example of a swing that we want to build, right? So it doesn't really matter the tool or the prototype software. There are millions of prototyping software out there. It doesn't really matter, as long as we are able to provide a point. That will go a long way, right? And that's important. Just validate a point and define a path, because that we can use it to test it, right? We could use it to test it out and present it to our users. See, on this, this is what I came out with, right? I mean, let's think about that. So we just have a tire over there with some chains attached to a pulley, say, and we have our swing over there. Perhaps it's just another variation of what we can do, right? Just an example. So we make sure this is useful, right? I mean, this prototype that we built on our previous stage is useful because it will give us enough data to get feedback. Remember, design thinking is not a linear process. We can go back and forth as much as possible. We will be able to document our results. And let's face it, right? I mean, there will be, there might be negative results. Maybe, we didn't understand the problem real well. Maybe we need to go back. But it's also something that we need to be prepared for. Of course, we could do a focus group. We could do usability testing. Design Sprint from Jeff Knapp at Google, they do have a good, nice way to do a testing, right? I mean, they describe, what the environment should be, that they will invite the customer, and then let them use it, right? I mean, because that will be important. The prototype that we create, the prototype that we want to be tested, needs to be, the user must be able to test it somehow, right? Well, at least provide an opinion of it. All right, so we have come through the 5 stages really quick. You guys participated very well, so I really want to thank you for that. We did the empathize, we define, we ideate something, right, out of a pulley. We created our prototype, and we just pretend, that we tested. So that, in a small nutshell, is what the design thinking is, right? As I mentioned, you can go back and forth to gather more data or to do something a bit different. All right. So if we review our initial slide, why design thinking matters for project managers, scrum masters, and whomever really, well, let's just go through the points. Address the customer need. Yes, we created a new swing based on a pulley for our 4-year-old Sarah. We decipher what she really wants, right? Well, at least we pretended to. We dealt with ambiguity and uncertainty. We also, everyone got involved, at least, right? A lot of you participated, and we defined a path to go. So yeah, from this point on, we covered our 4 main points as to why design thinking matters, right? All right. Sorry about that, but NK, that's at least what we cover so far on our design thinking phases. I know you have a surprise for everyone else, so I don't know if you would like to take it from here.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so thanks, Sergio, and please put your questions in the chat box here. We will go over the questions immediately after the quiz. So I have a quiz for you, like we have started doing a quiz, and we'll have 4 or 5 questions. Because of the technology issue, we could not use the same Menti. So you may have to go to another Menti. Let me share my screen over here. Okay, so this Menti is a different code. So if you can sign up to this Menti, 55, 61, 62, 62. Yeah, very good. I see. So we'll have 4 or 5 questions, and it is a quiz. So there is going to be one winner, right? and the winner is going to get a $10 Amazon gift card. So that's how amazing it is, right? And as we play the quiz in next 4 or 5 minutes, if there are any questions, please put on the chat box, and Sergio will be looking at the chat box in the meantime. And we will after the quiz, we'll come back, and we will stay here if needed a little bit over 1 p.m. Eastern. We will be here. Okay, so let me start the quiz. Okay, we are 15-16 people over here, so let's get started. So answer fast to get more points. Okay, it is about design thinking. Okay, very good. So many of you replied it right. And let's see who did the fastest. Ayu Rai. I think Ayu Rai is the one who did it fast. Very good. Let's move to the next one. And answer as fast to get more points. And pay attention to the not there. Wow, everybody got it right. Excellent. So let's say who got it fast. Okay, there are a lot of people who were faster than Ayu. So let's say if there is any change. Okay, Ajay is coming at the top. So the race is on. We are on the third question over here out of 5. Okay, many of you did it right. So let's see where we are on this. Okay, let's see if there is anything that changes. Oh, Ajay is still leading. Okay, you have a couple of more questions left. And if you are paying attention, you will be able to answer these questions. Okay, all right. Let's see where the teams stand. Good job, Ajay, keeping the lead. And this is the last one. Very good. So let's see, and let's see who is the winner. Good. Ajay is the winner. Ajay, take this screenshot and send it to trainings@refinem.com. And I will get your email address and I'll send you the Amazon gift card. Congratulations. So how do you like this? How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strongly you will recommend this session for others? Very good. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Very good. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. And what kind of topics you are interested in? Because the design thinking we brought to this based on your inputs. So what kind of topics are you interested in? I'm not expert in every topic. So I will bring experts like Sergio for the topic. So AI, okay. Okay, yeah, that's something that is happening around. Um, Remote agile engagement. Yeah, so we are doing that topic next week. Next, not sorry, next week, next month. We are doing that topic next month. Lean project management. Okay, very good. Automation, AI, more use cases for design. Sergio, that is next for you. Okay, more use cases for design.
Cool.
Very good. Non-profit project manage. Okay, okay, very good, very good. Okay, so you keep your ideas coming here. Let me go to go back to the chat here, and Sergio, I will stop sharing. So if you can resume sharing, we'll go over the Q&A and conclusions, and I'll look at the chat box. Okay. Okay, so
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Sorry about for taking to mute. So let's just go to the.
yeah, so this one, next one, yeah, here. So what we are doing is, since there is a lot of interest in design thinking, so Sergio has agreed to actually deliver a 1 full day training on design thinking, and we'll go through this kind of what you see, a kind of preview, and we'll have 1 full day, and it's happening on March 25. uh, we have a discount running until March 11. So if you're interested, you can sign up for the class. We'll be doing one class every month, and here are the dates for the next 2-3 classes. So if you want to learn more, if you from this one, if you liked, and you want to learn more, then join one of those 1 day classes. That will be great. And the next slide, you will see how do you get PDUs. Some of you who are PMPs and would uh, like to earn PDUs. Here is the one. Next one. Conclusions. So Sergio, if you can go over
Yeah.
conclusions. Yeah.
Right. So as we talk, right, let's just go real fast. Don't want to delay you more. We're at top of the hour here, but the multidisciplinary teams go a long way. Um, it's not just the same type of team. You know, it's not just the developers, or it's not just the people in marketing. As we could really benefit from a lot of different input. Uh, let's know the customer, right? I mean, don't be afraid in asking. Gather as much information as possible. That's key, right? That's how we we develop swings on this example. Get to know your human, right? I mean, sorry about that typo there, but then again, design thinking is not a linear process, as we talked. You can move from one of the stages to the previous one back and forth without any problem. And lastly, I'm sure, and that happened to me at the beginning. You're going to be stuck. You wouldn't know how to get the ideas flowing and everything. It requires practice. At some point, you know, the participants will somehow be not in the right mood, right, and just not to say frustrated, and that's completely fine, right? That's the beauty of the process, because we're thinking, we are challenging ourselves, right? As long as we respect each other, and as long as we enjoy the process and think about the ultimate goal, which is satisfying our customer and satisfying our whomever we are resolving, that will be fine. Don't bother about thinking on anything else. Just let's enjoy the process. If we're stuck, let's just get unstuck, right? I mean, go with a positive attitude and enjoy the process, right? As long as we get to to a final. If you have questions, let me know. That's my email address, and my LinkedIn profile is there. Our Constru-Robot Facebook page is there as well. Our website is there as well, but it's currently being redeveloped to include more content for you all. So if you have questions that were not addressed here, feel free
Yes.
to reach out. Yep.
Sergio, can you go back to the PDU slide? Somebody is asking for how do you So, and somebody's like, yeah, so Mrudula, here is how you get it. And you will also receive a copy of this slide deck and the recording also of this webinar. So you'll get the copy of this slide deck. It will have all the information. So you don't have to worry about writing it, but if you want to take a screenshot of this, you are more than welcome to do. Any questions? We have 5 minutes over, not too bad. The 5 minutes over, they were switching between me and Sergio. That would have taken some time, and I was late by 3 minutes. Sorry about that. Does anybody has any questions? We can, Sergio and I'm here for another couple of minutes. Or otherwise, you have our contact information. You have my contact information. You have Sergio's contact information, and and then join Sergio's classes, one full day class. That will be great.
Let me put it back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Sergio, there is one question. Are you familiar with Vijay Kumar's work on design thinking? Somebody is asking about that. Lyle is asking about that.
I'm not familiar, but I'm sure I will be, right? I'll look for more information about BJ and his work on design thinking. Sure.
Yeah, there is a lot of things going on in design thinking. People want to use this in almost every kind of place where there is a human-centric approach. Okay. What you explained today's line with his methodology, Spartans have great.
Thank you.
Great, very good, very good, very good, very good. Thank you, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, I guess so. We'll like to close the webinar. Thank you, Sergio, for an excellent presentation. Excellent work engaging the attendees, and I will see you all our next webinar on first Wednesday of April, and we will be talking about the new ways of working for remote teams or remote agile teams. New ways of working for remote agile teams. We know agile teams are usually co-located, but now the situation has completely changed. So what are the new ways of working for remote agile team that I have been observing for last 6 to 8 months? And you also might have observed some of that. You might be actually doing the work remotely now, and you may be the part of agile team. So we'll have that conversation on April 7, the first Wednesday of next month. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Have a nice